Sarah Silverman, how did I Love America start? How did you get it going?
Gosh, I don't know. I wanted to do a show that was about social politics and feelings. And then my friend Adam McKay was like, let's do a political show. And then I go, yeah, I want to do something that is more like a Mr. Rogers for adults, you know? And and what I've learned kind of through the process is it's just about connecting with people. And you don't connect, certainly don't change people's minds by like shouting facts and poll numbers at them. But the only way people could even get to a point of connecting with someone who thinks differently than them, or even maybe open their minds to be changed, is through feelings. All of us are that way.
Yeah, and I think like an important part of sort of your show isn't just what you say, but how you listen to people that you go around and visit or interview and stuff. What's been the most interesting you've heard from one of your guests or one of the people you visited around the country?
You know, in terms of the people I've visited, I think the thing that surprised me that was there, you know, like when we know we're gonna meet each other or see each other and we don't know each other, what's natural is we both have preconceived notions that kind of fill in all the blanks until you really meet them. And like their walking away interview, it seems like the common denominator was they were glad, they didn't feel judged, and I think they expected to. And then I think that the thing that I took away from, you know, the interviews I did was, I mean, with every interview I did, I was changed. I think, you know, like Megan Phelps Roper, she said that people in extremist groups they're not bad people. They just were at a vulnerable moment, they were swayed by bad ideas. And then Christian Picciolini, who was a neo-Nazi skinhead, and then for the past 30 years has changed and now helps people get out of hate groups and extremist groups, is actually working to help get people out of ISIS and kind of more in international endeavors. But he said, I asked him for advice, and he said, find someone who doesn't deserve your compassion and give it to them, because that's what happened to me. That's what he said. And that was really interesting, I thought. And I mean, I think there's a kind of a inherent flaw in saying like, find a person who doesn't deserve your compassion, because I think the trick is that maybe everyone deserves your compassion, and it's hard as speaking truth to power and having compassion for the people who believe the lies that they're told, you know. From my perspective, they probably feel the same way on the flip side, but still they should have compassion for me, you know, if they feel like I'm believing the lies I'm being told. I just happen to think that, you know, the New York Times is maybe more credible than Breitbart, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, you said like often the roadblock can be people coming with preconceived ideas of the other person, and how often people you spoke to sort of felt like they were going to be judged and they weren't. What's a sort of preconceived sort of assumption or notion you've had going in with talking with someone that you've had challenged?
There have been a few, but I think, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I was like scared going into some of them. And, you know, I think that like, you know, for lefties, seeing like a MAGA hat is scary or triggering. And just like if you're a righty, seeing like a man bun or a an avocado toast might seem scary. You know, I'm not doing the best, or Hillary t-shirt. I don't know.
I'm with her.
Yeah. Where like an I'm with her t-shirt might be triggering for them. And it's all really, all of it, feelings.
Yeah. With your show,
there's sort of fear, you know, fear and then so if sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
Suddenly
continue.
My brain finished the sentence.
Yeah, continue.
I mean, we're doing terribly, Matt. Like getting people's defenses down, or I like to say porcupine needles because it's more of a visual, like, you know, our defenses go up and we can't be open. So it's not manipulation, it's equal. Like, you know, the second I see their face or I say, have a hug, hello, whew, you know, my porcupine needles go down, and I think theirs do too. And once you just kind of see a human person in front of you, and I'm a people person. And I think also, like, you know, I get asked, you know, how do you, you know, not go crazy when they're saying, you know, Obama's from Kenya or something. And one, I did challenge her on that, obviously, but by then we were friends enough that I could be like, Brandy, you know, come on, you know, but I already loved her and she already loved me, you know. But to get to a point where, you know, I have friends on the left, they're like, how can you tolerate that, and whatever. And I mean, the answer is, I'm a messed up comedian that wants to be liked, you know. And I think that there's a part of all of us that goes toward love. So like, I want these people to like me, you know, whether that's a messed up thing in me that has been the reason why I pursued a life in comedy, where I am trying to make strangers laugh, you know, and like me. But even if it's from something maybe you know, for mental health reasons should unlearn, I want them to like me. And that's been a snag in me that's been helpful, you know.
The show has sort of, I'm probably oversimplifying it, but there are sort of two sort of components to it. One is for a sort of very meta, self-referential satire of what a talk show is, and the other is a very earnest discussion with people about how they've changed. How do you balance sort of those two elements?
Well, really kind of the mission statement of it walking in was, I want to connect with people and I want to be earnest and open, but with anything heady or, you know, anything with anything to say, we want a sandwich in a big bready sandwich of aggressively dumb, ridiculous, silly comedy, because that's the stuff that makes me laugh. And so I think it's been a good combination of that, you know. And let's see, this year coming in, like, we're gonna do a cold open, the news of that day that will shoot and air immediately. And but the stuff that we prepare, you know, like the monologue, the kind of lengthier monologue, that's a aggressively silly, dumb humor kind of mixed in with personal, the way I'm personally taking in or figuring out, or a kind of a symptom of how we are where we are. It was really, I should probably think of like a shorter, easier log line to describe that. And then we'll have either a sketch or a field piece, and probably a comedy piece, you know, and then the interview. And what was the question? I forgot.
Is sort of, how do you balance the sort of comedic satire take on a talk show with the sort of more earnest just discussions you're having with people to sort of explore change?
Yeah, so I think that's what it is. I think, you know, with anything heady or serious, we try to serve it with a big silly side of fries. But that's kind of been the combination that I live in anyway.
Yeah. You've talked about how you've changed through your interviews a bit and stuff like that, and with all the guests you have on your show, rather than it being people that are promoting books or movies, you've wanted to have discussions with people who have changed in some way. How have you changed the most through doing I Love America?
I mean, I think I've learned a little more about where people are coming from and their perspective. You know, I do think the liberal bubble is a very real thing. I also think there's quite a conservative bubble as well. We've all got our triggers and our go-to words and phrases, and you know, none of that really matters, and none of it is effective. You know, we're not changing each other. We're not opening each other's minds. So until we see ourselves in each other in some way, I don't know what kind of progress we can make. We're listening to different truths, you know, like we're getting our news from different outlets that are totally biased. I mean, listen, I say MSNBC, I would say, is totally biased, but I would say that they care about what is true. But now I sound biased. It does seem that way, you know. But yeah, I've learned a lot. I mean, we had Father Greg Boyle on, a Jesuit priest, he said something that I think about every day, which is like, I'm not going to say it exactly right, but basically, if we don't make friends with our wounds, then we will be tempted to despise the wounded. And I do think that the things that we tend to hate.
Oh, bless you, Sarah.
You're at goldderby.com, and that was a real sneeze. Am I clean? Oh my God, what's that?
Yeah, all good.
Would you even tell me?
Like, probably. I wouldn't want you to like. I wouldn't want you to rewatch.
I think I'm good.
I wouldn't want you to watch. Yeah, I wouldn't want you to rewatch the video and say, "What a jerk, that guy!" Not telling me that I had a thing hanging out of his nose.
Maybe that's an Australian thing. They like when stuff is in your nose. You don't have anything in your nose.
Oh, that's good. I'm clean too.
You're totally clean. Perfect. I mean, I can't see well. Here, let me look. Totally. Wow. I mean, as a whistle.
Ah, brilliant.
I don't know why they're so clean as a whistle. Aren't whistles filled with like old spit?
Yeah, well, people, I guess as clean as a brand new whistle from the factory.
A brand new whistle. Unused whistle.
Yeah.
Clean as an unused whistle.
Yeah, because you're right. If someone's asking me for something, describe something that's clean, I probably wouldn't think of something that people have been running around with putting their mouth on. Yeah.
Yeah, and blowing into.
Yeah. I wonder where that expression comes from.
Yeah.
Oh.
That doesn't make sense at all.
So, what are we talking about, Sarah?
I love you, America.
Yeah, and change, and how you know what you've learned and what you've changed about watching the show. We're an awards website at Gold Derby. I Love America is eligible for Emmys this year. Let's just imagine, let's hypothetically imagine you weren't going to win. You don't win the Emmy this year, Sarah. Will you have the Donald Trump or the Jason Alexander approach to losing an Emmy?
Hopefully the Jason Alexander approach. That's hilarious. He's
good.
Referencing a monologue. I think, was that the one about nationalism and patriotism?
I feel like it was episode 2 or 3. I'm trying to remember which.
Can't remember.
Was it the
all 10 are available.
It was needing attention, wasn't it? How people crave attention.
Oh, that goes into a crazy left turn. Well, yeah, because when I hear people go, he just wants attention, don't give it to him. It's like the most heartbreaking 2 sentences you could ever hear.
Yeah.
Why is that so disgusting once you sense a human need?
Yeah. No, that was a really good point. And yeah. And yeah.
Well, because I think about it all the time because from hecklers, from like just decades of hecklers and stand-up. And I always, it's annoying, and I can't understand what is in someone to yell out, but it is also heartbreaking because I feel like the subtext of every heckle is the same, which is basically, I exist, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and look, I'm my other job is a school teacher, and you hear a lot in school teaching. Don't he just wants attention.
Don't give it to him.
Don't give it to him. Just wants to ignore it. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he fucking needs attention.
Yeah, maybe give him some attention.
Is this a clean interview?
Yeah. No, you can say whatever you want.
Okay.
Like, try to maybe avoid hate speech. Like, that's probably what we wouldn't want on the
right. I tied a string around my finger to remember that.
Yeah, good. But any coarse language is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Sarah, what is there a particular episode that you're proud of that you'd want to submit or something if you got nominated for the Emmys?
I really love all of them. I love 1 and 2. I love 6. It's very Jewy, but it's about we talk about anti-Semitism. I do punch up because I'm a writer on a KKK website just to try to help them get their message across better. A lot of fun stuff in that one that I like. There's a moment where I ask, I say, like, it's crazy so many people hate Jews. We're 1/5 of 1% of the whole world. And then I'm not really sure. So I ask Siri and I go, Siri, how many Jews are there? And she goes, too many. Siri, not you too. I like 10. That was our Christmas episode. We talked about the war on Christmas.
Yeah.
Which really doesn't exist. It's a made-up thing to be angry about.
Yeah.
Do you know any Jews that mind Merry Christmas?
Yeah.
It was fun just saying, like, what do you think the Jews hate about Christmas? The bump in retail, the residuals on every Christmas song you've ever heard, which has been written by a Jew.
Yeah.
I listed all the Christmas songs that were written by Jews. I couldn't even list them all. There were like 30 classics.
And I think the interesting sort of thing about stuff like that is, I guess, there's a lot of fuel in the political discourse the past couple of years has been anger. And it's been sort of people getting mad at things, the war on Christmas, the whatever it is.
Well, that's Trump's strong point. He takes little spurs of fear, frustration, anger, real feelings, and he gives them a place to put it, each other.
Yeah. So I guess to finish off, Sarah, how is your show in your mind an antidote to that anger?
I'm not good at a hard sell. It's certainly a show that may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it is funny, the kind of funny I enjoy. Comedy is wildly subjective. I liked the challenge of having hard comedy and heart and care and empathy and compassion, and can those things coexist? And I think that they can. I just snorted.
Yeah. That
I like a show that's like a Mr. Rogers for adults, but like we say pussy and fuck.
Yeah. You give out $500.
Huh? Oh,
you give out $500 for farting.
Well, it's a little more intellectual than it sounds, but I do like to include rectal humor.
Yeah. Sometimes the silliness can make a point, though, can't it? Like, particularly with, talking about shit stories with firefighters in Texas can make the point about how finding common ground in the silliest of places.
Listen, like so I went to Mineola, Texas, where 87% of the town voted for Trump. It's just it's a very small town. And there was like a Facebook campaign for the Mineola page to not let me come. And it was, and then I get there, and when you're face to face, it's like, you can celebrate your differences. It's not a big deal. I sat with a bunch of firefighters. I loved how do you not? It's something that Mr. Rogers said, there isn't anyone you couldn't love once you've heard their story. And that goes both ways. So I think they thought they would hate me, and we had a really good time. And I remember one guy said, do you believe that when Jesus comes back, you will recognize him? And he said, I will. And I said, I'm Jesus. And he said, no, you're not. And I was like, no. But, we just laughed about our differences. It was fun. But also, despite the ideologies we may have differently, no matter how different you are, everybody has some kind of humiliating story involving shitting, and they all did. And it was really fun to hear them,
Yeah. Everyone's got an embarrassing shit story, and everyone deserves compassion. Sarah, thank you so much for talking with us today about
Thanks,
and all the best luck for the Emmys.
Oh yeah, who knows? I hope people watch. I just want them to watch.
Yeah.
It's Hulu. It's just an app like everything else.
Yeah, it's so easy. Yeah.
I hope you at least have Hulu for Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, come for Handmaid's Tale, stay for
I Love You, America.
There you go.
To prevent it happening.
Yes, exactly. Thanks so much, Sarah. It's been really
good. Thank you so much. Thanks,
and
Matt.
you're still clean.
Thank you. So are you.
Yeah, thanks.